I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to do. My management said if I don't do this tour, I will have to find an attorney, and by contract, my own management could sue me if I didn't follow through with the tour. He handed me a sheet of paper as I got off the stage in Vegas and said I had to sign it. It was very threatening and scary, and with the conservatorship, I couldn't even get my own attorney, so out of fear, I went ahead and I did the tour.
Britney Spears is currently going through a titanic struggle to regain her freedom. In an acrimonious dispute with her father and others, she's hoping to reverse a 13-year-old legal ruling that her own father should be in complete control of her life, her career, and all of her money. With paparazzi sensationalizing the events of this struggle, it's easy to see this as a simple case of a controlling father being unwilling to relinquish influence over his 38-year-old daughter. However, this case is more complex than the media makes it seem. There's actually valid arguments on both sides. Arguments that cut deep to the core of mental health issues and how far the legal system should be allowed to intervene when a person's own mental health struggles lead to allegedly bad and sometimes life-changing decisions. So let's look at the truth behind this court case and uncover 5 facts about Britney Spears versus her father. Britney's mental health issues. So where did this all begin? Well, what led to Britney Spears and her father feuding over control of her life, it can be traced back to at least the events of 2007. That's the year that Britney's life completely unraveled. Her marriage to Kevin Federline had broken down, and their 2 sons were set to be at the heart of a custody battle. Britney was also allegedly trying to treat an alcohol and depression problem. In February of 2007, she attended not 1, but 2 rehab clinics. The second rehab in Malibu would be a turning point for her. She voluntarily left the program just 24 hours after arriving. Soon, Britney's behavior became even more erratic. She shaved her head in front of the paparazzi and was involved in a car accident where she fled the scene due to not having a California driver's license. The custody battle over Britney and Kevin Federline's children raged on throughout the year, and by August, their divorce was finalized. Soon after, a court awarded Kevin Federline full custody of their children. But Britney refused to give her children up to him, and she suffered a complete breakdown. Images appeared of her being wheeled out of her home strapped to a gurney. She was immediately taken to a hospital where she was detained under a psychiatric hold, legally curtailing her freedom temporarily. This was the point where Britney's father stepped in, claiming that Britney was unfit to take care of herself, her children, and for sure her business matters. Britney's father takes control. Britney's father, Jamie Spears, had complete control over his daughter for 13 years, despite her being 38 years old at the time of this video. He achieved this by applying for what's known as a conservatorship. For those who aren't lawyers, this is a legally accepted way to become a person's guardian if they're deemed vulnerable. The exact agreement isn't publicly available yet, but allegations have been made that the conservatorship grants Britney's father the right to choose when she leaves her home, who she spends her time with, what contracts she can sign, and even how she spends her hard-earned money that she's made over her high-profile career. All of this was argued as necessary to keep Britney safe from spiraling out of control mentally. It's believed that Britney has a form of bipolar disorder. This debilitating illness leads to manic episodes where a person's behavior is impulsive, unpredictable, and even delusional in some cases. Remember the FouseyTube July 15th event? Yeah, something like that.
Tyler Perry put me in his movie!
While it may have been necessary 13 years ago in light of this diagnosis, criticism of how far a conservatorship can go has increased over time, with many accusing Britney's father of practically enslaving his own daughter, regardless of how much progress she's made in having her psychiatric issues treated since the initial breakdown. The Free Britney movement.
Leave Britney alone!
If you remember that clip, you're a real OG to YouTube. Despite being in a difficult personal situation, Britney Spears still released albums, with the 2008 Circus album making her return to the limelight after the conservatorship was granted. She also made successful launches of her perfume line in lingerie brands. And by the way, I've actually smelled it. It smells fantastic. It's estimated that Britney is worth a staggering $59 million US, and yet she has no control over this money or how she used it due to something that happened well over a decade ago. In response to the level of control Jamie Spears has over his daughter, the Free Britney movement began. Concerned fans commenced that journey back in 2009 by founding FreeBritney.net, a hub to educate people on the difficult situation in which Britney allegedly finds herself. This site and others have sprouted up around the campaign, all to argue for one thing: the complete removal of any control Britney's father has over her. In 2019, Britney's father stepped down as her conservator for health reasons, but the Free Britney movement believes that he's still ready to step back in and wrestle control for Britney's current conservator, Jody Montgomery. If he's able to do this, he'll be able to control Britney's life again completely for who knows how long. What do Britney's siblings think? Britney's siblings have commented on the struggle between their sister and their father. Some had hoped that their input would expose just how bad things had been for Britney under the conservatorship. However, Britney's sister Jamie Lynn publicly stated that the press and others should refrain from commenting on something that they just don't understand. She seems to support her sister, but with being made the trustee of Britney's estate, some people are unsure how to take her statement. In case you didn't know, Britney actually has a brother, Brian, who is a little bit more forthcoming. On an episode of the As Not Seen on TV podcast, Brian mentioned that his sister had struggled with the conservatorship from day one. She had never wanted it and never felt it was necessary. However, Brian also mentioned that he sympathized with his sister, having someone always controlling her decisions. Reading between the lines, it kind of seems like Brian's statements advocate a relaxing of the conservatorship rather than a complete abandoning of it. What's clear is that all of this remains a contentious issue for Britney and her father. Why Britney's court case is so important. So after all of this, it seems like Britney and her father are locked in a legal argument where compromise is pretty unlikely. Britney, for whatever reason, feels that her father should be nowhere near conservatorship. In fact, she has now stated this in court. Her father has likewise commented, saying that he is only looking out for the well-being of his daughter. But is that true, knowing that there's, $59 million involved? Without knowing exactly what's gone on behind the scenes, it's difficult to be able to cast judgment. Maybe Britney did need someone to step in, but just how far that should have gone is, well, it's up for debate. The case has importance outside of Britney Spears and her family. It's possible that conservatorships are far more popular than we know. Performers and other public figures often have large-scale representation guiding them, and it's also known that, due to stresses involved, alcohol, drug, and mental health issues often intertwine with debilitating frequency to undermine those in the industry. Is it possible then that there are a few rich and powerful people who possess ownership of other conservatorships? If Britney wins her review, it's possible that this could alter the boundaries of personal freedom and the influence potentially unscrupulous people have on controlling individuals who generate money. So this is the question for you guys. Do you think Britney is right, or do you think her father's right? Leave a comment. But as always, thank you guys for watching this, and if you enjoyed it, come tell me right now on twitch.tv/MatthewSantoro, where I'm live. Tap here to catch up on my recent uploads, and tap here for a similar video to this one. I'll see you guys on Twitch.